If a woman tells you this, 10 things leave her immediately. Psychology tricks. When words speak louder than actions, recognizing the subtle signs in relationships. Love is not about possession. Love is about appreciation. Osho, in any meaningful relationship, mutual respect and understanding are the cornerstones that keep the connection strong and thriving. Yet, relationships aren't always a smooth ride. Every bond has its ups and downs, and often it's the small, subtle indicators that reveal cracks in the foundation. These signs can be easily overlooked, but when you pay close attention, they offer insight into the relationship's future. For men, particularly those in their midlife years, recognizing these subtle red flags is essential for safeguarding emotional and mental well being. Sometimes, a seemingly harmless comment made by your partner might not be so trivial after all. When certain phrases or behaviors start to emerge consistently, it's crucial to pause and reflect. Words, while they may appear innocent at first, can often carry hidden meanings and emotional undertones that deserve careful consideration. In this article, we'll explore 10 statements or behaviors that could signal underlying issues in a relationship. These aren't mere offhand comments, but rather potential signs of deeper emotional struggles. If left unaddressed, they could lead to lasting harm to your mental health and happiness. Recognizing these early on and deciding to step away can be one of the most empowering decisions you make. Stay tuned as we break down the subtle, but telling, things a woman might say that could be cause for concern. 1. You don't understand me. When a woman says, "You don't understand me," don't ignore it. This phrase isn't just a casual complaint, it's a serious signal that something deeper is wrong in the relationship. It's often heard when she feels emotionally neglected or unheard, especially when she's trying to connect with you on a more personal level. She's not just venting, she's pleading for attention, for understanding, for emotional support that's been lacking. At its core, it's a cry for help, indicating a breakdown in communication. It means the emotional bond between you two is starting to fray, and if you don't act on it, the gap will only widen. Be clear. When she says this, she's not just asking for more attention, she's signaling that the foundation of your connection is at risk. If you're not emotionally present, she'll feel isolated, and no relationship can survive that. Take Tom, a 45-year-old businessman, and his wife, Sarah. They'd been married for 12 years, but lately, Sarah felt like she was no longer a priority. While Tom buried himself in work, Sarah wanted to talk about her personal struggles. One evening, after yet another failed attempt to engage him, Sarah said, "You don't understand me." This wasn't just a frustration with a single moment. It was the culmination of months, maybe years, of feeling emotionally ignored. And just like that, a small crack in their emotional bond became a deep fracture. Sarah wasn't just upset, she was questioning whether Tom was even the right person for her anymore. If you don't pay attention to these emotional needs, the relationship will slowly die, no matter how strong the initial connection was. Psychology tricks show us that this is a common reaction when a woman's emotional needs aren't being met. Female psychology is wired for deep emotional connection, and when that connection isn't there, feelings of isolation set in. Understanding how to fall in love again with your partner requires more than just surface level gestures. It demands deep emotional engagement, active listening, and genuine empathy. The secret to long lasting relationships isn't just in sharing meals or vacations, but in those quiet moments when you're truly present, when you grasp the significance of what she's saying, even when it's not obvious. When she feels emotionally connected, the relationship thrives. When she doesn't, the bond fades. Remember, if you consistently fail to meet her emotional needs, the relationship will lose its depth. You must learn the difference between hearing and listening. You must engage with her emotionally, not just physically. You need to understand that these aren't just random complaints, they're signals that, without the right care and attention, your emotional connection will begin to crumble. And once that happens, no amount of time or effort will be able to fix it. So, don't brush off her feelings. Don't tell yourself that it's just a phase or that things will fix themselves. If you want to avoid heartache down the road, you need to start paying attention to what's being said and, more importantly, to what's being left unsaid. The psychology tricks behind this dynamic are clear. Understanding your partner's emotional world is critical to maintaining a strong relationship. Female psychology isn't just about what's spoken, but about how much is communicated through body language, tone, and subtle cues. When you ignore these signs, it creates a void that's impossible to ignore in the long run. And when she's asking for emotional connection, it's not about being a mind reader. It's about showing her that you value her thoughts, feelings, and concerns. That's how you build love, and that's how you keep it strong. Don't let emotional neglect be the reason your relationship falls apart. If you don't listen, if you don't understand, you'll lose her. That's the truth behind this psychology trick. Communication isn't just talking, it's truly hearing and responding with empathy. 2. I don't need you to be happy. At first glance, the statement, I don't need you to be happy, might seem like a confident declaration of independence. After all, self sufficiency is admirable. But beneath the surface, it can be a warning sign that a woman is emotionally distancing herself from the relationship. Relationships thrive on emotional interdependence. When one partner stops relying on the other, it can signal a silent breakdown in connection. When a woman says she doesn't need you, she may be mentally preparing to step away. Once emotional detachment sets in, rebuilding the bond requires significant effort. Recognizing this early is crucial for a high value man. A real life example: take John, 38, who had been dating Lily for 2 years. He noticed subtle changes: solo trips, yoga classes, more alone time. Initially, he dismissed these signs. But during a heated discussion about their future, Lily said, I don't need you to be happy. This comment marked a turning point. She stopped seeking emotional support from him, building a life apart. John tried to win her back with attention and romance, but the emotional bond had already weakened. The masculine energy you must cultivate. Emotional independence is healthy, but it's essential to distinguish it from emotional disengagement. A high value man remains strong, confident, and emotionally present. You show your partner that while you are independent, you are actively invested in the relationship. The goal is balance, shared emotional support while maintaining personal strength. The red flag you can't ignore. When a woman says she doesn't need you to be happy, it's a warning. While individual happiness is vital, if one partner emotionally checks out, the relationship becomes unbalanced. You don't want to be a passive placeholder. You want to be a man who brings out the best in her, someone indispensable. This isn't about trying harder or overcompensating. It's about recognizing the shift and assessing whether the relationship still has a foundation. The bottom line: this statement is a serious red flag. Emotional independence is healthy, but disengagement is not. A successful relationship relies on shared support and mutual need in meaningful ways. As a high value man, decide: will you settle for a relationship where you're no longer needed, or will you cultivate a dynamic where both of you can grow and thrive together? The choice is yours, but act wisely before it's too late. 3. You're always hurting me. When a woman says, you're always hurting me, you must take that phrase seriously. It's not just a fleeting complaint, but a signal that something deeper is festering in the relationship. This phrase is often the result of years of emotional neglect, unaddressed pain, and unresolved issues. It's not just about a single incident, it's the accumulation of many small, overlooked hurts that have stacked up over time. When a woman continuously expresses that she feels hurt by your actions, it's time to look beyond the immediate circumstances and recognize the underlying emotional distance. This isn't about just one missed dinner date or one forgotten anniversary. It's a broader pattern of emotional neglect that can erode the very foundation of your connection. Think about Mike, a 50-year-old man who had been married to Linda for 20 years. For much of their marriage, Mike was consumed by his career, working long hours late into the night. He thought of it as providing for the family, but Linda, left alone and often ignored, felt emotionally invisible. She voiced her concerns multiple times, yet Mike continued to prioritize work over family. One evening, after yet another argument over his work schedule, Linda broke down, exclaiming, "You're always hurting me." Mike was blindsided, thinking it was about a single event. But the truth was much deeper. Linda wasn't referencing just that moment. She was talking about years of emotional neglect, years of feeling unloved and unseen. This is the emotional pain that begins to suffocate love. Relationships, like life, demand attention. Ignoring the emotional needs of your partner is a betrayal of the very bond that connects you. Old Stoic wisdom teaches us that emotional control and awareness are crucial. You must develop an iron mind, one that is aware of the emotions around you and isn't clouded by pride or stubbornness. Take a step back. Ask yourself if your actions are aligning with your partner's needs. Are you present? Are you listening? You must do more than just hear the words. You must understand the emotions behind them. If your partner feels emotionally ignored, it's crucial to reevaluate your priorities and make the necessary adjustments. You cannot allow these small wounds to go unchecked. Over time, these accumulated hurts can destroy the connection, leaving only a hollow shell of what once was. Stoicism wins when we remain present, aware, and accountable for the emotional health of our relationships. When your partner says something like, "You're always hurting me," do not dismiss it. This is the moment for introspection. The cost of ignoring it could be the breakdown of the very thing you've worked so hard to build. Relationships demand constant work, constant attention, and constant presence. Iron Mind is not just about enduring hardship, it's about facing the truth head on. Do not shy away from difficult conversations, especially those that stir deep emotions. The real victory in life isn't about avoiding confrontation, it's about embracing the hard truths and using them to forge stronger bonds. In today's world, where distractions are abundant, maintaining emotional intelligence and understanding is more vital than ever. You must be the man who faces the truth, who confronts the pain, and who takes action to repair and restore emotional health in your relationship. It's your duty, your responsibility, and your path to mastery. If you find this video valuable, like, comment below, and share it with someone who could benefit. Don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom. Comment to remember, I am committed to healthy, emotional connections. 4. You don't deserve me. When a woman tells you, "You don't deserve me," take it as a clear and direct signal. The relationship is on the brink of collapse. This phrase cuts deep. It's not just a passing remark, but a statement that screams emotional abandonment, a loss of respect, and the painful realization that something has gone terribly wrong. It's the psychological trick at play. When a woman utters these words, she is essentially expressing that the emotional bond has weakened to the point where she feels you are no longer worthy of her love, time, or affection. It's an act of emotional withdrawal, often fueled by years of neglect, unmet needs, and dissatisfaction in the relationship. You must understand, this is no longer about one disagreement or one-off day. It's the final straw, the tipping point of a deeper, more profound problem. Take David and Susan, for example. They had been together for over 25 years. But recently, David's behavior had shifted. He had become more critical, distant, and lacked the emotional availability Susan once craved. As the years went by, Susan's frustrations grew, simmering just below the surface. Then one day, in the heat of an argument about his neglect of their emotional needs, she said, "You don't deserve me." The words stung, and David was blindsided, but deep down, he knew she was right. Her feelings of being overlooked had been building for far too long. Her hurt wasn't just about this one incident, but rather a culmination of years of feeling unimportant and undervalued in the relationship. What makes this moment even more heartbreaking is that it signals a woman's psychological shift. She feels emotionally drained, undervalued, and disconnected, often because her emotional needs have gone unmet for far too long. It's a wake-up call, a sign that the relationship may have reached its breaking point. When a woman feels like this, it's not just about love. It's about respect, admiration, and the psychological tricks women use to keep their emotional investment intact. They need to feel seen, heard, and appreciated for who they are, not just as a partner, but as an individual. You must realize that when a woman says she doesn't think you deserve her, it's a reflection of the imbalance that has existed for a while. She's signaling that the emotional dynamic is no longer healthy, and there is a lack of psychological fulfillment in the relationship. It's a powerful indication that things are heading toward an irreversible breakdown, and if you want to salvage it, you have to acknowledge the shift in dynamics. You can't keep ignoring the warning signs, the little cracks in the foundation, because ignoring them only leads to further resentment. So, what should you do when you hear these words? First, don't dismiss them. Don't fall into the trap of brushing them off as just another heated moment. Take them seriously because these words carry weight. They speak to the very core of what makes a relationship healthy: mutual respect, admiration, and emotional connection. Recognize that the psychological tricks women play are not always manipulative, but often a reflection of their unmet needs. If you want to keep her, you must take a step back, reflect on your own behavior, and ask yourself, am I showing up for her in the way she needs me to? The answer may require you to confront some hard truths about how you've been showing up emotionally. But don't make the mistake of thinking this is all about love alone. Relationships aren't just about the happy moments. They're about maintaining a balance of psychological and emotional needs. When one partner feels neglected, like Susan did, it's a sign that the relationship is lacking in essential areas, and you have to be ready to do the work to repair it. So, if you hear those words, "You don't deserve me," understand that they are not an attack, but a cry for change, a plea for you to step up, to shift your understanding of female psychology, and to prioritize the emotional health of the relationship. Don't ignore her pain. Don't assume it's just a phase. Be proactive, because if you wait too long, the damage might become irreversible. You must understand that how to fall in love again in a relationship requires both partners to be equally invested, and that means recognizing the subtle and not so subtle signs when something is off. Be willing to look inward and fix what's broken, or risk losing everything you once had. 5. I need some space to think. When a woman says, "I need some space to think," it's rarely just about wanting a few moments of quiet. This phrase often signals that she's feeling overwhelmed, confused, or uncertain about the future of the relationship. It's an emotional pause button, not just for her, but for your connection together. Repeated requests for space without resolution can be a red flag. It may indicate that she's questioning her feelings or whether the relationship is truly fulfilling. As a high-value man, you need to recognize that this is more than a casual need for alone time. It can signal dissatisfaction and a deeper issue that simple communication may not resolve. Ignoring these signs could leave you in a relationship that's too far gone to fix. Consider Chris, a 42-year-old man who had been living with Emily for 5 years. After noticing distance and tension in their conversations, Emily finally said, "I need some space to think." Chris believed more talking would solve the problem, but Emily wasn't just asking for conversation. She needed clarity about whether the relationship could meet her needs. For high-value men, this is the tricky part. Your natural instinct to fix things may not be enough. Sometimes space is a warning, not a request. When she asks for space, it often means she's evaluating her feelings and the relationship itself. This is not about short-term solitude. It's about questioning whether her needs are being met. High-value men must be honest with themselves. Is there a long-standing issue that can't simply be patched over with a conversation or more time apart? Emotional distance is frequently a sign of dissatisfaction, and ignoring it can allow problems to fester. Masculine energy matters here. Being a high-value man doesn't mean controlling the situation, but facing the uncomfortable truth. Is she pulling away because of a lack of communication or because the relationship no longer aligns with her needs? You must be willing to have tough conversations, confront reality, and reflect on whether you're still showing up as the partner she fell for. Importantly, handling this with composure is key. Your worth isn't defined by her approval. If she repeatedly asks for space, step back and evaluate the situation rather than chasing her emotionally. Give her room to process her feelings while also giving yourself the space to think clearly. Don't dismiss repeated requests for space as temporary. When it becomes a recurring theme, it's time to take a hard look at the relationship. Respect her need for space, but also recognize it as a signal that deeper issues may exist. Your ability to navigate these moments with emotional intelligence and masculine energy will determine whether the relationship can survive or continues in a cycle of uncertainty. In the end, your ability to handle situations like this with masculine energy and emotional intelligence will determine whether you can navigate through the complexities of a relationship or whether you're simply stuck in a cycle of uncertainty. When a woman says, "I need space," it's not a pause, it's a red flag. Address it, or it could be the beginning of the end. 6. You don't make me feel special anymore. It's not just a passing complaint, it's a warning sign. It's a cry for attention, a plea for connection, a reminder that something essential in your relationship has been lost. In those words lies the essence of neglect, the subtle erosion of intimacy and respect. This phrase speaks volumes about the emotional distance that has crept in. It's not just about forgetting anniversaries or missing a date night. It's the result of years of unnoticed efforts, the kind of neglect that breeds resentment and withdrawal. If you hear this, don't ignore it. It means you've stopped putting in the effort to make her feel valued, and now she's struggling to hold on to the emotional bond that once existed. The Old Stoic wisdom tells us that we must control what we can and adapt to what we cannot. But we must not ignore the signs of a weakening relationship. A real man, one who values his relationships, acts decisively when he sees the signs of trouble. He doesn't let apathy fester. Take action before the connection is permanently severed. Take the time to appreciate your partner, to remind her how special she truly is. This isn't just about being romantic, it's about maintaining a healthy, powerful emotional bond. As the great philosopher Seneca once said, "A friend is what you have left when you have lost everything else." Your partner is not just your lover, she is your confidant, your ally in life's battle. If you neglect her, you risk losing her not just emotionally, but spiritually. And the price of that loss is steep. If you can't make her feel special, then you're failing to live by the iron mind that Stoicism teaches us. We must be deliberate, consistent, and thoughtful in our actions. Winning in life requires mastering the small things, and the small things in a relationship are the gestures that make someone feel truly seen. The Stoicism win isn't just about personal success, it's about creating success in the shared experiences you cultivate with those you love. Don't just be the man who makes it through life, be the one who builds meaningful relationships with those around him. That's the ultimate victory. When she tells you she doesn't feel special anymore, it's time to fight for her heart, to make her feel like the most important person in your world again. Don't let that connection fade into the background. Reignite the spark, nurture the bond, and show her the attention she deserves. Only then can you truly say you've mastered life, mastered love, and achieved victory in both. 7. You always do everything wrong. It's the kind of statement that cuts deep and chips away at your confidence. Constantly hearing that you're not measuring up can be emotionally draining, leaving you second-guessing yourself and questioning your worth. This isn't just criticism, it's a blatant expression of dissatisfaction with you and the relationship itself. In the world of female psychology, this remark often reflects a deeper frustration, one that goes beyond the surface of your actions. When someone repeatedly tells you that you're wrong, it signifies that they no longer believe in your ability to meet their expectations. It's a tactic that diminishes your self-esteem, leaving you feeling like you're failing no matter what you do. This can seriously damage the dynamic between the two of you. Take James, for example, a 40-year-old man who had been married to Helen for 15 years. The cracks in their relationship began to show when Helen started criticizing every little thing he did, whether it was how he folded the laundry or the way he talked to their kids. Nothing was ever good enough. One day, after James made a simple mistake, Helen snapped, "You always do everything wrong." That simple phrase shattered him. James had spent years trying to be a supportive husband and father, yet the constant barrage of negativity from Helen made him feel worthless. He began to feel as though nothing he did would ever be right, and that sense of inadequacy began to take its toll. In any relationship, criticism is inevitable, but when it turns into a constant stream of harsh remarks, it becomes toxic. Constructive criticism can be helpful. It helps us grow and improve, But relentless put-downs only erode trust and affection. If one partner continually feels like they're falling short, that relationship will eventually crumble. It's the emotional equivalent of slowly poisoning a relationship. You begin to doubt yourself, and with that doubt comes a loss of motivation to even try. Over time, this destroys any connection you once had. This is where psychology tricks and understanding female psychology can help. Recognizing when a relationship is built on negativity can empower you to take control of your own well-being. If you're constantly being told you're wrong, it's time to step back and ask yourself, is this relationship truly making me happy? This kind of emotional exhaustion can leave you feeling stuck, unable to progress or grow. It's essential to recognize these warning signs and not let them become the foundation of your relationship. You must prioritize your self-worth and seek balance. If your partner is not supportive and understanding, it may be time to reevaluate the relationship. Now, let's talk about how to fall in love again, but this time with yourself. You need to be confident, strong, and not let any negative comment define your value. Take a moment to appreciate your qualities and the efforts you put into relationships. Do not allow someone else's dissatisfaction to drain your spirit. Remember, relationships are about mutual respect, love, and support, not constant criticism. If you're experiencing this kind of emotional manipulation, it's time to make a change. Don't stay in a relationship where you're made to feel less than you are. Be strong enough to walk away from toxicity and seek something more fulfilling where you're appreciated for who you truly are. Always trust your intuition. If things feel off, they probably are. So, next time you hear you always do everything wrong, ask yourself, why am I tolerating this? Female psychology suggests that relationships should uplift, not tear you down. You deserve a partner who encourages your growth, not one who diminishes your self-esteem. If you keep getting told you're wrong, it's time to take action. Don't let that criticism control your life. Instead, embrace the love you deserve. If you've heard this phrase, you always do everything wrong more than once, it's time to reflect. Constant criticism like this isn't just hurtful, it's a silent killer of confidence and love. No one deserves to feel crushed by constant negativity. If you've ever been in a relationship where this has happened, it's time to make a change. Comment, I deserve respect and love if you're ready to break free from toxic criticism. 8. I don't trust you anymore. Trust is the foundation of every strong relationship. It's the invisible thread that holds everything together. When a woman says, I don't trust you anymore, it's not just a passing complaint. It's a red flag that you must take seriously. Something significant has happened. Whether it's a lie, infidelity, or broken promises, once trust is shattered, the relationship is on rocky ground. You have to understand, rebuilding trust is a monumental task, and it's not something you can fix with just a few nice words. Trust is vital. If you're a high-value man who attracts women and is building a strong relationship, this principle should be at the core of your masculine energy. Without trust, everything you've built will crumble. Trust doesn't just disappear overnight. When it's gone, the emotional foundation of your relationship is compromised, and without that strong base, you'll struggle to maintain the connection. Let's take Sam, who is married to Rachel for 30 years. Sam was a man with a good reputation, but in the last year, Rachel noticed something odd. Sam became secretive with his phone and started coming home late more often. Rachel, feeling the tension, asked him point blank, "Are you seeing someone else?" Sam reassured her, but then Rachel said it, "I don't trust you anymore." Sam was crushed. He knew why she said it. He had broken her trust in the past, and this time, the damage was already done. Despite his efforts to fix things, the emotional distance between them kept growing. When trust is broken, it's like trying to fix a shattered vase. No matter how hard you try, the cracks remain. You may be able to glue it together, but it will never be the same. The importance of trust. As a high-value man, you must understand that trust is not just a word. It's the bedrock of your relationship. You can be charming, successful, and confident, but if she starts feeling like she can't trust you, the connection begins to fade. If you want to attract women and maintain their respect, you need to show integrity and consistency. Don't hide things from her. Be upfront about where you are and what you're doing. If you don't, you're setting yourself up for failure. When trust erodes, it's nearly impossible to get it back. Once that doubt takes root, it's hard to shake. What you can do, if you're hearing, "I don't trust you anymore," it's time to reflect. High value men don't shy away from challenges, they face them head on. Take responsibility for your actions. Show that you're committed to making things right. But remember, regaining trust takes time. It's not something you can fix overnight. It requires patience, transparency, and consistent action. Masculine energy is about standing strong, being honest, and keeping your promises. You need to lead by example. If you want her to trust you, you must first trust yourself. Be the man who is true to his word. When you show that you value honesty, trust naturally follows. If you hear the words, "I don't trust you anymore," don't brush it off. This is a pivotal moment in your relationship. You can either take it seriously, learn from it, and rebuild, or you can let the relationship slowly fade. Relationships can withstand many challenges, but they can't survive without trust. As a high value man, you must commit to maintaining the trust. It takes work, but the reward is worth it. When you do, women will feel secure and respected in your presence, and your bond will be stronger than ever. 9. You'll never understand. This phrase marks the point where emotional disconnection becomes apparent. It means she no longer feels seen, heard, or valued. When she utters these words, it often signifies that she believes all attempts at meaningful communication have failed. It's not just a passing comment, it's the manifestation of deep emotional frustration. She feels as if you've stopped trying to understand her needs or offer the support she desperately craves. In short, this is when you have crossed a threshold from mutual understanding to isolation. This is the moment when her emotional needs become a void that cannot be filled. It's a devastating admission, and if it becomes a recurring phrase, you're witnessing the breakdown of the relationship, a breach that may be impossible to repair. Do not ignore it, because failing to address this is like ignoring the first crack in a dam. The result will be inevitable. The loss of connection will suffocate both partners, especially the one left feeling alienated. Take the example of Luke and Megan, a couple married for over a decade. Luke had always been a provider, but he lacked the emotional understanding Megan needed. As her workload and responsibilities grew heavier, she sought comfort and empathy from Luke. Time after time, however, he dismissed her struggles as mere stress, never truly listening. After yet another failed attempt to express herself, Megan finally declared, "You'll never understand." This was not just a moment of frustration. It was a culmination of years of unmet emotional needs. Luke, taken aback, didn't grasp the full impact of her words. But Megan, having been ignored and misunderstood for so long, emotionally withdrew. Her belief that Luke would never understand her became a self-fulfilling prophecy. In this case, the emotional disconnect didn't happen overnight. It was built over time, brick by brick. If you ever find yourself in a similar situation, know that it's a signal. You must stop, assess, and take action. This is where Old Stoic wisdom comes into play. As the Stoics believed, a man with an iron mind does not allow emotional turmoil to dictate his actions. Instead, he takes responsibility and listens actively, seeking understanding rather than defending his position. Stoicism wins in relationships when one partner truly commits to listening and responding to the needs of the other. If you ever hear these words, "You'll never understand," take them seriously. This is your moment to act. You must listen with intent. You must validate feelings. Do not dismiss or deflect. Communication is the backbone of any relationship, and when it breaks down, so too does everything else. As a man with an iron mind, remember that true strength lies in mastering emotions, not allowing them to control you. Take a step back, don't take offense, and open your mind to truly understanding her. The victory in life is found in mastering these moments. That is where you win. It's not about being right. It's about being present, being strong, and leading with empathy. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice. In a relationship, that injustice is emotional neglect. Be the person who listens, who understands, who creates a space for growth, not stagnation. You can rebuild what's broken, but only if you act now with strength, wisdom, and an iron mind. 10. I don't know what I want anymore. If a woman ever says to you, I don't know what I want anymore, brace yourself. This seemingly innocent phrase can be a major red flag, signaling emotional turmoil on her end. When she expresses this, it often means she's emotionally conflicted, torn between her feelings for you and the direction in which the relationship is heading. In fact, this statement can be a sign that she's questioning everything: her feelings for you, the dynamic between the two of you, and, most importantly, whether the relationship is still fulfilling her needs. It's the kind of statement that often comes when she's reevaluating her priorities or pondering significant changes in her life, but she may not yet know how to navigate them. This confusion is a product of emotional unrest, and it can spell trouble if not addressed. You must recognize that this uncertainty isn't about you personally, it's about her inner conflict. She's grappling with something deeper, perhaps even questioning whether she still feels the same passion for you. In relationships, female psychology often shows that when a partner doesn't know what she wants, she's likely struggling with dissatisfaction or unmet needs. And when that happens, it's hard to continue moving forward in a healthy, stable way. Take Riley, for example. He was 35 and had been in a steady, 3-year relationship with Lily. Things were going well for the first couple of years, but recently, Riley had noticed a change. Lily had become distant, often seeming distracted and uninterested in the meaningful conversations they once shared. Slowly but surely, she pulled away emotionally. The connection they once had started to feel strained. Then, one evening after a quiet dinner, Lily turned to Riley and said those words, I don't know what I want anymore. Riley was blindsided. They had talked about their future, plans of marriage, maybe kids, and the life they envisioned together. So, when Lily dropped this bombshell, Riley was shaken. The conversation that followed revealed that Lily was indeed questioning her happiness in the relationship. She had begun wondering if they had grown apart over time, whether their shared goals were still aligned, and whether they were still the right match. It was clear now that Lily was in the middle of a psychological shift, unsure of whether the relationship was still serving her emotional needs. This is the crux of the issue. When someone, especially a woman, starts doubting what they want, it can be a serious blow to a relationship's foundation. It's a warning sign that she might not be as emotionally invested as she once was. This state of uncertainty, while common in relationships, is a major challenge for men to handle. The psychology tricks at play here are often not obvious, but understanding female psychology is key. This moment signals that she's not just lost in her feelings, she may be contemplating significant changes. Her indecision can also stem from a desire for more attention, more fulfillment, or simply a change in the dynamic. But it's important for you to recognize the urgency. If she doesn't know what she wants anymore, it means you're both standing at a crossroads. Be aware that this confusion can sap the emotional energy from the relationship, creating a toxic environment where neither person is truly satisfied. In these moments, you must not ignore the signs or brush them off as temporary. This is not just a casual doubt, this is a red flag. The longer it goes unaddressed, the harder it may be to fix. You have to ask the tough questions and figure out if the relationship still has a clear future or if it's time for both of you to rethink your path. That's the key here. Clarity is the antidote to confusion. If she can't provide clarity, then it's time for you to take charge of the situation and find out whether her indecision is a temporary phase or a sign of something deeper. It's crucial to remember that unresolved doubt will only breed further dissatisfaction. The relationship may not be able to progress if one partner is emotionally unsure. So, don't wait around hoping for things to change. Take action and address the issue before it completely unravels. In the world of psychology tricks, knowing how to fall in love again or reignite passion takes both self-awareness and effort. If your partner is confused, you may need to reconnect with her emotionally, rekindling the spark that once existed. But if she can't express what she truly wants, it's time to reassess the relationship. After all, a relationship built on uncertainty and doubt will ultimately crumble. Make sure you don't ignore these signs. Be proactive and decisive. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching today. I hope you found this video helpful and eye-opening. Remember, no relationship should ever make you feel unappreciated, unheard, or emotionally drained. If you're hearing these phrases frequently, it's a sign that something deeper might be off, and you deserve more than that. The truth is, it's okay to walk away when things aren't right. Prioritize your emotional well-being and trust your instincts. Your happiness and mental health matter most. No one should constantly feel like they're not enough. And if you're in that situation, taking a step back might just be the best thing for you. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you experienced any of these phrases in your own relationships? How did you handle it? Let's chat about it in the comments below. Until next time, take care of yourselves and remember, you're worth it.